Welcome everybody back to another episode of UnDisruptEd. Adam, I'm very excited about this show. We have a surprise for our audience, but we don't want to reveal it yet. So I'm going to set us up. I'm going to set us up with the debate question. So our opening debate is this: what drives people to do this work, the work that we do, to be tech directors, CTOs? What makes us want to do this work when really, honestly, there's a lot of negative outcomes? Servers go down, internet breaks, all this stuff. So what would drive us to grow up to be these roles? What do you think?
There's a little bit of insanity that must drive us to do these roles. But realistically, though, there's this one piece, and I actually got this from reading President Obama's book, where he talks about wanting to become a president. It's a little bit of hubris.
Yes.
To think that you can do this role, be one man, woman, whatever you are, and sit in this seat and deal with all the changes that are happening all the time, with the people issues, with the parents, servers, things that you cannot control. So it's a bit of hubris that you have to do this job. But that can only last so long. It has to be that other thing that drives you beyond that, because you have to be a little bit crazy. That is true to do this, but it has to be that component to make something better than it was before. I think that is something that has to drive you, because you're going to get hit with negative stuff all the time. You got to find something. I mean, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm in the same boat. I felt like for me, it was the passion to work with educators, and that idea was always a thing that was kind of like grounded me in doing it. But you're right. Every time the phone rings, it was never a, hey, the Wi-Fi is great, or hey, just wanted to tell you you're doing a great job today on everything. It's usually always, I need help, from the superintendent asking for you to help them find an email, or to the board saying, hey, can you help set up the projector? You know, you wear every hat. And you just kind of, hubris is a good word. I think that's part of it. I think insanity is a better one. But yeah, I'm with you there. But it's kind of interesting, because we actually have a couple of unique people that are about to join us here in a minute. That
experts.
Could give us, these are experts. Yes, these are experts in the field. So our listeners, if you're listening to this podcast, this is coming out just a few days after Mother's Day. And so Adam and I thought it'd be interesting to invite a couple of special guests. So I'm going to introduce the first guest. Joining us right now on camera is Shirley Hooker. She is known most notably for being the mom of Carl. No, she's an educator for mom, 25 something years in education, teacher, pre-K, second grade, fourth grade, a little bit of everything, out of El Paso. So we have an educator joining us today, and just she's going to give us some perspective on this. And then Adam, who do you have joining us?
Well, Carl, I wanted to find someone who knows how to create a future-ready technology leader. So
literally,
I dug deep down into my Rolodex, and I have the honor and the privilege to introduce Adam's mom, also known as Roslyn Fayal. She's going to pop on, and everybody can see my beautiful mom. Still happy to have her here on this podcast today. She is a mother of 6
Wow.
kids. I know, right? And she's still here. So amazing.
Still
3
smiling.
boys, 3 girls, and only 1 set of twins in there. So really happy today for our amazing guest that we have the privilege to interview today.
Mom, I feel like you're slacking there. You only had the 2 kids. Although she knocked it out of the park with their daughter, because she did name her Anita. So, that always works well with the name. And everybody, the question I get, the age-old question we get is, what were your parents thinking? Now, during this podcast,
Yes.
we might find the answer. What were you thinking with the name, Mom? With Hooker as the last name, we got to be careful, just to be honest.
Oh, that was my mother's nickname. Everybody called her Anita.
That's true. And her last name was not Hooker, to be fair.
No.
Adam, you have a question for our guests to start us off?
When you look at someone like Carl, and this question is for both moms, but let's start this off Carl's mom and tell us. He's kind of a big deal, or so he says.
In my own
I
mind.
actually have the plaque that says that and a shirt, because I'm a big deal in the resistance, but that's neither here nor there. At what point in little Carl's life did you know that he was destined for greatness?
Oh, I'd say when he was 4 or 5, and we got him a little set of lock blocks, and he made his first little house. That was before Legos. And I said, oh my God, you're building a house. He said, yes, I want to be an architect. I said, what?
That's what I sounded like.
Architect. But before that, when he was born, I could hear him all the way down the hospital corridor, and I knew it was him because it was the only one that sounded like a big bullfrog in the nursery. Well, he was a big deal from the time he was born.
Just great. Came right onto the earth. Well, I'm gonna reverse the same question and present it to you, Adam's mom. How did you know your son was going to be destined for greatness? What traits did he show you as a young man?
When he was probably about 5 years old, could have been 6, he got his father's watch and he tore it apart because he wanted to see what makes it run. So I knew he had a mind to figure things out.
A problem solver at an early age.
Not quite, because I created a problem. Where she left out of the story was what happened after my father found out that I took his watch apart. But now that we're in a new 2021 woke cancel culture, I don't want to cancel my father because of what happened to me afterwards. Because if I tell the story, he may become canceled. That's going to be for the father's episode, I guess.
That was a different year, a different time of child rearing, let's just say, back then with our dads. And
focused on the rear end.
Yeah, kept the end in mind. Yes, with the belt and everything else. So let me ask you, I'll do another follow-up to that. So did Adam, when he was young, was there a job that he always said, like, I want to be this when I grow up? What's this thing that I want to be when I grow up? And is he close to what his dream was when he was a kid? What did he want to be when he grew up?
He didn't want to do anything that he had to use his hands for. He wanted to use his brain.
Oh. And I guess in many ways, he actually ended up right where he needed, because his brain is definitely comes in handy more than the hands now.
Oh, you got to tell a little side story in like a few seconds why you brought that up.
Why? My father, I was born and raised on a farm. My father's farm. So we were living in Alabama, Dothan, Alabama. So that summer, I wanted him to get the farm experience. So for 2 weeks, we came down to South Carolina to the farm, and I already talked to my dad, and we had a game plan. For 2 weeks, every morning, he was going to get Adam up and take Adam out in the field to help with the hogs, the cows, and all of that. And I'm telling you, he got the experience of his life. And he said, that was not for me. He said, I will not use my hands for that. I will use my brain.
Yes, you building background knowledge, and I took that knowledge and I applied it as a goal of not wanting to go back. I'm a can't go back all-star.
But to tie that in, I believe, Adam, in your current role, you do deal with a lot of bull. Oh wait, never mind. I won't say the end of that. Other things you see on the farm.
So I'm gonna flip that around, of course. And Carl's mom, growing up with him. And seeing how, he's matured all these years, how close do you see him at his goals right now?
Why are you laughing so much? Wait, why are you laughing? That's sad.
Be an architect.
Oh.
I can't remember the last thing you built, Carl.
Hey, I build dreams. It's awesome. Yes.
It's all up here.
It is. In the brain. I was destined. From the time I was about 5, I wanted to be an architect. And I was like, and I'm still to this day, I still want to be an architect. I mean, so does George Costanza, but at some point in my life, I'm going to find a title that has like Chief Architect of Remote Learning, and then my title will be CARL. I'll be a Carl, Chief Architect of Remote Learning. Oh, see?
I see what you did there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so the architect thing kind of fell apart when I got to UT and changed majors a couple times before I figured out what I really wanted to be. But yeah, thanks for bringing up that trip down memory lane.
Yeah, I think we all have gone through the changing major story before. So
What was in terms of like what was something that was hard when raising Adam as a child? What was something that was hard, a difficult thing? Like what was something like, some kids have certain things that they struggle with. Some kids don't like to eat certain things. Some kids don't want to listen all the time. Some kids get into mischief, whatever. Was there something that stood out to you that was like something that Adam seemed like, wow, this was something I really struggled with him as a kid growing up? Or was he a perfect child?
Uh,
and my mom doesn't play favorites. There's 6 kids, but I will tell you this much. I'm the only child that she's been on their podcasts for. So, I mean, that lets you know which child is a favorite. I'm just saying.
Oh, playing that card.
but one of the most difficult things I think with him was, he
See, no coaching. I hear my dad's in the room there. He's trying to coach.
Coaching.
No, he really wasn't afraid of anything. I remember him bringing in I think it was a centipede from outside, and he came, and I am terrified of worms, anything that crawls. And he brought it in the house, and he said, "Look, Mommy, I got a snake."
Whoops.
And of course, I got hysterical, so.
See, why you got to bring all that up?
You're a risk taker. You're a risk taker.
Yes.
You show no fear. This is going forward again into your current profession. This is great. This is a good therapy session for us.
All right, so this is one that I have to ask, and I'm gonna deviate from that question. And a lot of us have seen this photo, Carl's mom, and we're gonna get our producer to add the photo, a cutaway to this photo, in the podcast. But we saw the photo with Carl with these shorts.
Oh, the jean shorts, yeah, with grandma on the. Oh, yeah.
The chicken.
So
yeah,
they were. So I'm gonna ask you this. Has Carl always had this fashion sense, or was this something that that you picked out for him? Inquiring minds want to know.
She still picks up my clothes.
I do still pick out his clothes. I do. And it was whatever was in style and was on sale at the time. That's what he got to wear, including a pair of women's sneakers. That's all I could afford at the time. Oh my God, these sneakers. And I'd compare them to shoe sizes that he wore then. And I think he was about 10 and he was already in a woman's size 9. I thought, well, I can wear them if he can't. So he always wore them. That was what I picked out.
This is, they always say to walk in someone else's shoes to really figure it out. And I think for me, that meant I could really understand because I was going to be working in a profession that's 80% female. So I needed to make sure that I was, yes, see, there's the tie-in. There we go.
One step at a time.
Exactly. If we put one foot in front of the other, I think it works out. Yeah, and I feel like there's many times that I would like oh, I like this outfit or shirt or whatever I'm wearing, and I would look at the tag and it would have some sort of women's size in it. I never could figure that out. I always thought, I'm the favorite son, but maybe she wanted, only because I'm the only son, maybe she wanted somebody else in the picture. I don't know. Well, what about you guys? So I'll kick it over to you guys. Do you guys have a question for us or for each other? So either mom, do you want to start with this one and see, is there a question you want to ask Adam's mom? Like a question you have for her, that experience that maybe you had, and you're wondering if she had a similar experience with Adam.
Well, I was wondering, my son had a way of getting me to go along with stuff. And he was quite the negotiator. So I'm wondering, was Adam that way? Did he find ways to get around the rules because Carl did everything he could to get around, bend those rules.
Still do.
Well, let me see. I don't know. Well, for things that he wanted, I can remember he was in this thing about comic books.
Oh yeah, still got my comic collection.
And he just had to have it. And every 2 weeks, there was this comic store in Dothan where we went, and he got his comic books. And I didn't always have the money, but I always got it because he wanted it, and I didn't want him not to have it.
Oh.
But you know what that rascal did?
Oh, now the story's turning.
I supplied him with those comic books, and once he got his job in high school, and I told him that now that he got a job, he got to buy his own comic books. Don't you know he stopped?
I picked up other habits, other hobbies. Girls came in the picture, okay? You know, I needed money to go to the movies. You know, they're not cheap.
Your research changed. You didn't have to research.
Yes.
Yes, you need a different.
Yes.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, so Mom, do you have a question for Carl's mom that you would like to ask, or is it a question you want to ask Carl?
The background person said, "Do you still have them shoes?"
I need them for my daughters now. I mean, it's funny how that turned out.
But when he was in school, what type of learner was he?
Ooh.
Oh, gosh. He would pretty much, I think he could have run the classes if he wanted to, because he always looked at things from all sides. He was very bright, always bright, never gave us any problem. And the one time he got a poor grade on a paper in the 5th grade, I said, "Hey, go talk to your teacher about it." And because he's the master negotiator, that's just exactly what he did. And that grade got changed. The teacher said, "Well, you needed to do," he says, "All right." He just needed to know what he needed to do. He always tried to find out how he could do better. And that, I appreciate that. And, and he gave up things like his Transformers when he got his job, because apparently, going and having a car ride with some friends was where the money needed to go, and the Transformers went by the side of the road.
Still have those. They still have those Transformers up in the attic. But yeah, same thing. I think right around that 16 years old, for some reason, the toys and the comic books just kind of disappeared, and there was other interests that just showed up.
Other things that magically kind of popped in there. So this is a question I'm just going to throw one out there to the moms. Since we are both tech guys, Carl, myself, we were always into technology, always into gadgets and things of that nature. So was there a point when in each of our careers, talking to us or seeing us early on, that you saw this being a thing, that we were going to take this technology more than just something fun to do in a classroom with our students as an actual full-time career in education with technology? Was there something that we just said to you or that you saw that you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's really happy. He's happier here than he was before?
Who are you talking to first?
Oh, either mom. Let's see, Carl's mom.
Let's start with the Commodore computer. You guys remember those?
Oh yeah,
1981.
Well, we would go. My husband and I would go, and if there was a spiel to look at rentals or whatever. And then there would be a free gift with it, pots and pans. Well, there was a Commodore computer. And we thought, oh, this is great. So Carl was about 12, 11. And that's how he got started with that. But then he discovered the camcorder. And he was filming commercials and you name it. That's when I knew he likes this. He likes directing. He likes performing. So yeah, I think it started back then, before his teenage years.
Somewhere there's a George Michael video that we recreated of me doing "Gotta Have Faith." I know that's out there somewhere. My sister has that. And she holds it over me. She's like, "I'm going to show you shaking your women's jean shorts." Apparently. What about Adam? What was he? Was there a point when he was like really? You saw him into technology? It really turned around. Besides just disassembling his dad's watch.
Well, once he got in college and he got his own laptop, I and he spent hours figuring things out, and I felt like, you know, he might go somewhere, and he was always trying to get me to, and I'm like, you know, I don't want to mess nothing up. And he said, Mom, you're not going to hurt it, you know. But I always felt like he was going to, because he always had a way of figuring things out. And to the tune of sometimes he would make his teachers upset with him sometimes because he figured things out. And got through whatever he had to do quicker than the others in the classroom. Were you like that, Carl?
Sometimes. We always joke that we were brothers from other mothers, but now both of our other mothers are on the screen, so it's kind of it's a little bit different, but the same.
Yeah, I thought you were going to leave with that story because I remember once I was like the first seat on the row, and as the teacher was passing the work out, my goal was to get done with the work before she finished passing it out, so I could sit there and be like, "And what?" All right. Last question we're going to ask the moms, and we're going to start this one off with my mom. This is a question that we try to ask all of our guests on the show. We've had a really crazy year that we've gone through. And so we ask each of our guests to give us some bits of information, some words of encouragement, some advice on how our listeners can remain undisrupted.
Patience.
Patience?
Yeah, you have to have patience. Learn how to just enjoy life. Don't take anything for granted. With this pandemic, use it to your advantage to just appreciate life, and even though things are happening that's out of our control, look at the beauty of life, and don't ever let your memories just die, because your precious memories will keep you going.
Love it.
Thanks.
And Carl mentioned the song George Michael. I think George Michael sang "Gotta Have Faith."
That's right.
So you just have to have faith every day that it's going to be better than the day before.
Thanks for that tidbit of information, Mom. All right, Carl's mom.
I concur with everything she said. What I learned also was to reach out to people I haven't reached out to before, and to help lift them up in any way I can. Because when I lift up someone else, I lift up myself. And I also got more comfortable with just being by myself. Well, and, playing a lot of cribbage with my husband.
Yes.
But I got used to the solitude. And in the solitude, there is also beauty.
Yes.
Things that I hadn't seen, hadn't noticed, hadn't smelled, hadn't felt. And it's probably for the best. I think it gave us all a chance to recharge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sometimes we just need to step back, and this gave us that opportunity. Step back, look at what's around you. And I noticed I've got a bird feeder. I watched that blue bird go back and forth feeding her baby. That's my world today. Like, oh my God, did you see that? I got to feed that bird. I wouldn't have done that before. I would have been home talking to somebody. And now I'm happy to be home. I really am. I'm happy, and I'm so grateful that I have what I have. I think I got more than I deserve, to be honest with you. But I am so happy, and I want to help other people. And that was something else that Carl did for me when I was still a teacher. He invited me to learn how to make movies on a computer. Oh my God, that was such a thrill. Learning something new invigorated me. So I think that's the thing that educators do for each other too, is they put excitement into it and pleasure. That's what I got.
Well, speaking for Adam, I just want, go ahead.
Now, I was just, when she talked about you doing the movie, and I'm like, wow, you and Adam, y'all got so much in common, because when he was in college, he made a movie as well. And it was a pretty fun movie, you know. I think it was for some type of award, wasn't it, Adam? And you got like second or third runner up, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that one movie that beat me, some girl named Paris made it, but that's neither here nor there.
All right, we got to find this movie. We got to get this. If I'm going to have George Michael's Faith out there, we need to find Adam's college movie. Well, speaking for Adam, we are grateful, of course, for you guys. So we literally could not be on this planet without you. You guys have created a couple of tech leaders that we hope to inspire and continue to use the things that you taught us to go out there and do great work and inspire others. So we want to thank you guys both for joining us today, and happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. It's wonderful to meet you, Adam's mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Carl, Mom. It's nice to meet you. And maybe one day we can meet in person.
Oh, God, that'd be great. That'd be great.
That's going to be the next podcast. It's going to be Adam and Carl's mom.
Meeting of the moms.
Disrupting everything.
Yes, the meeting of the moms. Well, hope springs eternal, everybody. But I do want to thank you, and I want to thank everyone for joining us today on this podcast. And our listeners out there, be sure to subscribe and review. We'd appreciate it. We might even give you a shout out on a future show. This has been the Undisrupted Podcast, brought to you by Future Ready Schools. He's Adam, and you can follow him at AskAdam3 on Twitter.
And he's Carl, and you can follow him at Mr. Hooker. And remember, we are better together.
We are better undisrupted.
Undisrupted.
Go out there and thank your moms, everybody. This podcast is made possible by the generous support of Amazon Web Services.